look at this stack of July 2026 mobility reports for the Italian EV market, and I mean, one thing becomes glaringly obvious right away. The era of the penalty box budget car is just completely dead.
Oh, yeah, totally dead.
Like a sub 21,000 euro EV used to mean rolling down manual windows and just praying you'd make it up a steep hill, but now
Yeah.
manufacturers are engineering these hyper specialized, distinct philosophical approaches to driving. Okay, let's unpack this. Automakers aren't targeting a generic average buyer anymore. They're targeting specific lifestyles with like surgical precision.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the starkest example of this is the Dacia Spring at 17,900 euros. The reports actually categorize this one as the essentialist model.
Right, because it's so stripped down.
Exactly. But Dacia isn't just removing features to hit a price point. They are aggressively managing mass. So by utilizing a really small 24.3 kilowatt-hour battery, the car just requires way less energy to move.
Which means, I'm guessing, it needs less structural reinforcement, right?
Right. Less reinforcement, smaller brakes.
Right.
It's this very deliberate cascading effect of cost-saving physics.
I mean, I understand the physics there, but consumer psychology is a totally different beast. If I'm analyzing the market and I look at the Leapmotor T03, which sits at 18,900 euros, I really have to question the Dacia's value proposition.
Oh, sure, because it's, what, just 1,000 euros more?
Exactly. For exactly 1,000 euros more, Leapmotor is providing a 37.3 kilowatt-hour battery, 95 horsepower, advanced driver assistance, and four-wheel disc brakes. I mean, how is Leapmotor fundamentally undercutting that hardware cost curve that Dacia relies on?
Well, what's fascinating here is how Leapmotor actually achieves that feature density, because they aren't selling the car at a loss. Instead, they're leaning into, like, extreme vertical integration.
So making their own parts.
Precisely. By manufacturing their own power electronics and software in-house, rather than outsourcing to Tier 1 suppliers, they basically strip out the middleman's margin. That extra 1,000 euros goes directly into raw hardware rather than supplier overhead.
Wow. And then you have companies pivoting away from raw hardware entirely. Here's where it gets really interesting. Look at Renault's strategy with the 19,500 euro Twingo.
Right, they kind of sidestep the battery race completely.
Yeah, instead of competing on battery size, they integrated the native Google automotive system. They recognized that for a specific subset of urban buyers, navigating that digital interface basically is the primary driving experience.
They are effectively turning the vehicle into a seamless software node. But, the counter strategy to that heavy digital focus is physical space. Which brings us to the Geely E2 at 20,900 euros and the Citroën EC3 at 18,900.
The Geely is the one utilizing a native EV architecture, right?
Yeah, because they don't have to design a chassis that accommodates a bulky combustion engine or a transmission tunnel. They just push the wheels to the absolute corners. That flat skateboard design frees up space for a massive 375-liter trunk and a 70-liter frunk up front.
Which totally redefines the spatial efficiency of a compact footprint. And then Citroën takes a slightly different approach to physical engineering. I mean, they offer 320 kilometers of range on the WLTP cycle, which is that strict European testing standard, but their real focus is actually suspension.
Right, they use those hydraulic cushions to alter the damping rate.
Exactly. It mimics the ride quality of a heavier luxury car without adding the actual weight. So we have this incredibly dense matrix of strategies: extreme lightweighting, vertical integration, software dominance, and spatial efficiency. But hanging over all of these European and Chinese strategies in these reports is February's EU-India free trade agreement. So what does this all mean for the immediate future?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, that agreement is the catalyst for a total market realignment. Previously, a 110% tariff meant Indian automakers just couldn't export to Europe profitably. Now that the tariff has dropped to just 10%, companies like Tata and Mahindra are unleashing massive economies of scale.
Because they already build millions of vehicles for their domestic market, right?
Precisely. They have these enormous, deeply established supply chains. By partnering with European brands like Volkswagen to share platforms, Tata and Mahindra can flood the European market with sub-20,000 euro EVs. They combine Indian manufacturing costs with European distribution networks. Within 18 months, that 10% tariff structure will physically force European makers to lower their own price floors to survive.
Wow. So for you listening and tracking this market, this sub 21,000 euro segment is no longer a monolithic race to the bottom. It's a highly segmented battlefield. Dacia owns the pure cost reduction lane, Leapmotor dominates vertical hardware integration, Renault captures the software ecosystem, and Geely and Citroën are rewriting spatial and comfort engineering.
This raises an important question. If even the most affordable cars on the market are now these ultra-specialized lifestyle nodes, engineered for highly specific use cases, is the era of the general-purpose vehicle officially dead?
It certainly looks like automakers are forcing us to pick a philosophy, not just a price point. We'd love to hear your read on the data. If you found today's deep dive valuable, please consider buying us a coffee. The link is right there in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time today and keep exploring.